Hey, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? Welcome to another edition of the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. My name is TJ Jones. Thanks for checking out the podcast. I really do appreciate it. Well, Who Dat Nation, I may sound a little bit different on this edition than I normally do. That's because I'm actually recording this episode on my iPhone, and I'm doing it because I'm at the hospital right now. My fiance is about to give birth to our very first son, man. So I'm real excited about that. But those that are fathers, and you've probably been in the room with your woman, you probably know that it's a long process, man. And we're just playing a waiting game right now. So in the meantime, I thought I'd give you all some Saints news. And I want to talk a little bit about AJ Green. Now, I don't know where this story came from that I read, but I read it on SaintsWire.com, and it was a story about AJ Green possibly being traded to the New Orleans Saints. And I was like, wow, man, AJ Green? And I thought, man, I got to talk about this. First off, I don't know why the Cincinnati Bengals are considering trading AJ Green. I mean, this guy has been tearing the league up. He's been tearing it up in the AFC North for years with mediocre quarterback play. Andy Dalton, we all know he's suspect at best, but AJ Green always weathered the storm. He always put up big numbers, and he always found his way in a Pro Bowl every single year. So I thought I might talk about, would it be a good idea if AJ Green get traded to New Orleans Saints? Now, for those that checked out my last podcast where I focused on Dez Bryant, and I talked about how Dez Bryant was running routes and should the Saints think about re-signing Dez Bryant? And I said that I don't think the Saints need to because they have some receivers that can actually get the job done already. And I got a lot of feedback. A lot of people thought I was crazy, but I stand by it. But let me tell you something. I know we all fall for this whole little trap about names. Like, we love names. Anytime a free agent comes up that has a name like a Adrian Peterson or I don't know, a Terrell Suggs or something like that, we always fall in love with the name because we think about the player and what they used to be. Dez Bryant, back in the day, he used to be tearing the league up. But at the end of the day, man, Dez Bryant cannot run the route tree. You cannot last in the National Football League if you do not run the route tree. I'm sorry. Why do you think that players like Steve Smith Sr. and Jerry Rice and Tim Brown, all these great players, lasted so long in the National Football League? It's because at one time, they probably can get past that cornerback and they probably can do a 9 route and score a touchdown. But when you start getting older in your 30s, you start slowing down and that cornerback start to catch up with you. And the only thing that you actually have is your ability and your skill. And if you can't run the route tree, then you're in trouble. That's why I feel like AJ Green would be a better fit if the Cincinnati Bengals were to trade him to the New Orleans Saints than the Saints actually re-signing Dez Bryant. Because AJ Green can actually run the route tree. And I feel like AJ Green has something to offer the New Orleans Saints, man. He can go on the other side of Michael Thomas, and he can actually run some routes. He can actually find ways to get open. You don't have to worry about if he can run, a 10 and in. You don't have to worry about if he can run a hitch and go. You have to worry about if he have to run a skinny post. He can do it all. And I think that he would be a good fit. But I think that the Cincinnati Bengals would be absolutely insane if they were to get rid of AJ Green, man, because it seems like they're trying to go into a different direction. If Andy Dalton is the quarterback of the Cincinnati Bengals this season, I feel like he's on borrowed time. And that means that the Cincinnati Bengals are probably going to bring in another quarterback, and they're going to need somebody like AJ Green to lead and guide this guy and give him a receiver that can get open, that can take the top off the defense, and can be a matchup nightmare. So I feel like him being in Cincinnati would be a good look. But if the Cincinnati Bengals do something crazy, which we know they have a history of doing so, I feel like AJ Green would be a good fit for the New Orleans Saints. But that's just wishful thinking. But I would love to hear from you. What do you think about AJ Green possibly being traded to the New Orleans Saints? Comment down below, like and share this video. Also, subscribe to the State of the Saints podcast on YouTube. Go to youtube.com, search the State of the Saints podcast. Hit that bell for notifications. And previous episodes are available on iTunes, Spotify, and iHeartRadio.com. Till next time, all I have to say is, who dat?